So today I want to do a book review of Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. This is actually the very first book that I finished in the month of February, and I have been struggling a little bit to write a review. I had a hard time processing my full feelings about this book because I went into it with some pretty high expectations. It was one of my most anticipated releases of last year, and I came out kind of disappointed. As far as the synopsis for this book goes, I'm actually just gonna read what's on the dust jacket because I feel like it'd be really hard for me to tell you what the story's about without completely spoiling the whole thing. And also, I feel like it is more beneficial for you as a reader to go into E. Lockhart books knowing basically nothing. So I'm just gonna read what's on the dust jacket now. Imogen is a runaway heiress, an orphan, a cook, and a cheat. Jewel is a fighter, a social chameleon, and an athlete. An intense friendship, a disappearance, a murder, or maybe two. A bad romance, or maybe three. Blunt objects, disguises, blood, and chocolate. The American dream, superheroes, spies, and villains. A girl who refuses to give people what they want from her. A girl who refuses to be the person she once was. It sounds vague, but like I said, it is better to go into E. Lockhart books knowing basically nothing. So, despite the fact that I didn't enjoy this book as much as I wanted to, there were a couple of things that I enjoyed about it. First of all, I really like the writing style. E. Lockhart can craft a story and suck you in. I was hooked from the very beginning, and I wanted to find out what was going to happen next. I think that was also largely in part because the story is told in a really interesting way. It's actually told in reverse. So you start at the end of the story and work your way backwards, and slowly the pieces of the story start coming together. I think that this book had a lot of potential because that does sound really interesting. I mean, the synopsis tells you nothing, and then you have this interesting hook of a story being told in reverse, but I feel like it was kind of boring, honestly. Like, even though I was hooked and I kept reading and I kept turning the page because I wanted to know how everything was going to turn out or what exactly led to the events of the beginning of the book, I was kind of bored. I was just waiting for something crazy insane to happen. And there is maybe one moment in the book that is interesting and exciting, but overall, the rest of the story, I just felt like I was waiting for it to pick up. I felt like I was waiting for something amazing to happen, and it never really got there. I also think that the characters in this book are really horrible. Like, they're not poorly written or anything. I just didn't like them at all. And I think the purpose of the characters in this book was for them to be a little bit morally gray, a little bit ambiguous in doing what's right and what's wrong. But I just found them all to be really unlikable and really insufferable, and I wasn't interested in them at all. I think that the idea was definitely there, but the execution was not there. I really wanted to love it, but unfortunately the execution just didn't wow me, and it's really disappointing for me because I loved E. Lockhart's previous book, We Were Liars. It was one of my favorite books that I read the year it came out, and so I went into this one with some pretty high expectations. I went into this one thinking that I was going to love it just as much, and unfortunately it let me down a little bit. I'm just bummed by it because I wanted to love it so much. I love the cover, I love the sound of it, I love the idea of a story being told in reverse and slowly you're uncovering the secrets. But overall, I just didn't like it. I just didn't care for it, and it's probably one of my most disappointing reads that I've read in a while because I think I did hype it up a little bit in my mind, and it kind of let me down, unfortunately. So that's really all I have to say about Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I know this ended up being a little bit of a shorter review, but it really was hard for me to put my words down on paper. It was much easier for me to speak them out loud and just kind of let everything come out of my mouth as I was thinking it, I guess. Let me know down in the comments if you've read Genuine Fraud and you have similar or different opinions to mine. I would be very interested to know. Just as always, be wary of spoilers. If you want to talk about something spoilery, be sure to give a good enough warning so that nobody else is spoiled just by reading the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!